102.9 KBLX, the Bay's #1 for R&B. It's Sterling James as we continue to pay tribute to Prince.
It's hot in here.
I'm a bit nervous.
It's hot because we have Sterling James in the house.
Hi, Zina.
Hi.
How are you, baby?
First of all, this is our first female guest.
What?
Yes. Women rock. We are so powerful, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Oh, I just couldn't wait. I could not wait until you came on the show.
I was really excited when I got the call, actually.
You were?
Because, well, I'd seen that you all been putting this together, and I'm like, well, maybe I get to be a Bay legend. I mean, I'm the Bay baby. So
Yes, you are a Bay baby.
Yes. So thank you. I appreciate the call.
You're probably actually a lot of babies' baby in their minds, like Sterling.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
You were, yeah, like you said, it's hot in here.
It is hot in here. Two sexy ladies up here.
We both pulled off the red lips today, too.
I know. It's all about red
Power
and power.
red.
Yes. Yes, yes.
And
So
the
how you been?
dragonflies, those are gorgeous.
You know what? I actually wore these because of you.
Really?
Yes.
'Cause you know
and
I
I
have
know
my
that you
thing.
love dragonflies. So the thing that I know about dragonflies is that each wing is independently can fly by itself and do flying at the same time. So I thought about it and I said, I wonder if Sterling picked that because of how independent a dragonfly is, and you can do so many independent things at the same time while you're moving.
Versatility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you pick dragonfly?
Well, she knows about the dragonflies because I have 2 huge dragonfly tattoos on my back. And dragonflies, for me, first of all, one of my spirit animals is the dragon, just to begin with.
It is.
I have a thing about insects because, much like snakes, they're just kind of misunderstood and misconstrued as these icky things, but they're so beautiful and they're so versatile. And the dragonfly especially has a lot to do with where I see them. Like at Stern Grove, where the dragonflies are just mixing with the bubbles in the sunshine. Like that just is such joy for me.
Yes.
But also, as you mentioned, just the multi-directional aspect of dragonflies and the independent movement of each wing, the versatility. They can move in absolutely any direction. And I feel, being a Libra and just being a really versatile person, I feel like I can kind of move through each or any kind of situation, whatever's put in front of me. High class, mediocre, the riffraff, love is the root politic. That's one of my favorite lyrics from Michel Ndegeocello from a song called Cookie. So if you put me in a room of 5th graders and then you put me in a room of, 100 black men, or if you put me in a room with, a brunch for 80-year-old ladies, I feel like I would be able to maneuver comfortably through each room,
which each group.
Yeah.
Did you get that from your parents?
My mom is very social and very versatile, and she's very cordial and can speak with and is comfortable pretty much in any setting. My dad, not so much. My dad, he's just kind of he'll sit back. Kind of just sits back. Yeah.
And that's where you probably intake everything of the thinking part and, starting to know people and kind of sit back. But, you can figure people out, I'm sure, really quickly.
I love to read a room. There's something very cool about walking into a room and just kind of taking a moment to assess, not only for how to maneuver it, but how to keep myself safe and sane, where you can kind of read the people fairly quickly that are not going to be good for you. Or that if you must, work with them or communicate with them, that you got to kind of keep your guard, keep yourself safe. Don't say too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are certain people that you can't say everything to. Yeah, and then other people you can open up. And I guess it just kind of depends on who you feel safe with.
Sure. But I mean, a lot of what I do is host a room when it comes to being Sterling, and like we'll get like 15 or 20 winners and we'll go to Great America together, where you've got to host that group of people and make sure every single one of them is having fun and every one of them is feels comfortable and feels included. And the best and easiest way to do that is to remember everybody's name.
That's hard.
It is.
I am not good at that.
It is hard. It is hard. But there's something to be said about if you spend some time with somebody and they know you, right? Because you're Zina, you're Sterling.
Yes.
But by the end of the day, if you remember at least their name, where you say, Georgia, I really enjoyed hanging out with you today, or, Michael or Petey or, whatever, if you can just say their name, that's like, it's kind of like a gift to them. We're like, wow, she actually remembered my name.
Yeah.
Or remember a little something about them.
It is. It's beautiful because that's something that they relate to right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they say, oh, I think it makes people feel important to you.
Yeah.
And that's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is.
So I was reading a whole bunch of stuff about you. I just have to say first, I love this woman.
Oh,
I just love her. She's really like family. I mean, because she's been around us most of our lives. I'm talking about if we, not you, but we call her, if an Escovedo calls her 4 a.m, she will say, when, where, I'll be there. She'll put on some lipstick and she'll be there and she's like, hi, I'm serious. I mean, she just, and I love the fact that you have such a beautiful spirit about your community. I mean, I was reading so many articles about how you just love to give and to make sure that your time is given to people, because that's of course the most valuable time you can do.
Sure.
is give someone their time. So you love to give to your community. You fell in love with your community. I mean, how did you, because you were born in San Francisco.
I was born in San Francisco. But going back to the E family real quickly, I come from a very small family, and I love my family, but we're very, very small. And so if I get to hang out with a big, colorful, beautiful, musical, joyful, manja like family, anytime I get a chance to do that, I'm all in. And if I get to be around live music, I'm a live music junkie. If I get to be in a place where I feel like I'm giving, in transition to what you just asked about community, that's soul food for me. That's soul food. Your family feeds people's souls, being in the community and working in the community and giving back to the community, as much as that's me giving to them, that is soul food for me. So that feeds me. And that's something I need. I mean, I love my job, but a job is a job, and radio has offered me an incredible amount of things, and I love my job, and I've got a long storied history, but it's not all I do. I work with youth poets. I try to make sure anytime I'm on stage, I'm wearing a local designer's clothing or, Gorham Brothers hat, that feeds me. So people might think that that's me giving, but I'm actually coming to take some too. So
it's always a give and take, always.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
It is. It's soul food.
Soul food. Yes. And then I was reading also, and I'm sure you can see it on any article, but what I love is always like quirky things about people. And so, but you were doing wood shedding. Is that what wood shop? Wood shop.
When I started radio. Yeah, that's actually how I got into radio, which is wild.
That's crazy.
So let's see. Born in San Francisco, raised mostly in Albany because my mom was a teacher at Cal. So she taught physical anthropology at UC Berkeley and UC Santa Cruz. So living in Albany, and then my mom met a man that she wanted to marry, and so we moved to Walnut Creek. And I really did not like the school that I was going to very much. And I found this other school that had wood shop. And the man that my mother married, John, he was a woodworker, and he taught me a bunch of stuff, and I got quite good. So for me to be able to do this intra-district transfer to this other school, I had to give them a reason why. And I was like, but you guys have wood shop. So that's how I was allowed to actually transfer schools out of my district, was because they had wood shop. I made a table. I made a chessboard, nothing. Did? Oh, yeah. I still have the table. But when I made it over to this new school, Clayton Valley High School, this was in Concord at this point, they had a radio station. So it was 1985. And that's when I started radio, was at this high school radio station, KVHS, which was a rock and roll station. We played everything from Bob Marley to Slayer.
At what age was it? 15?
I was 15 then.
15 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long were you there?
Well, I graduated there, but then from there, I actually was recruited to go to Los Medanos College in Pittsburgh. They have a recording arts program there. There's a teacher named Frank Doherty, who's an incredible sound engineer and producer. He worked with Art Blakey and a few others. But he came to our school and recruited some of us out of the radio station into this recording arts program at Los Medanos College in Pittsburgh. And it was a 2-year certified program where we had to learn how to read and write music, perform both voice and piano. We had to learn how a recording studio worked. We had to learn, how curtains and diffusers reacted to sound, how bodies in a room reacted to sound. We had to learn about managing artists. We had to learn about art on record label, on the actual record covers. Marketing. It was we had to learn
like a whole program in itself.
Basic electronics. We had to, learn how to use a soldering iron. It was a really cool, intensive program.
So that gave you a lot of information then for really like the rest of your life.
It did, because in radio, you're not just a talking voice. You're not just a talking voice or choosing the music. You have to run all the equipment yourself. I don't have a producer in there with me. I run my show. I produce my show. I do all my social media. I do all my writing. I mean, I have about 5 or 6 computers in front of me at any given time when I'm doing my show.
I mean, when you go in, when anyone goes in for an interview, it actually looks like a full recording studio. I mean, there's so much equipment and so many buttons and. I mean, when I went in there, just to even visit with my family or, to visit Sterling, and I go in, like it looks like a cockpit of an airplane, and then there's, it's not like it's like, real pretty and, it's not this romantic job to where it's, windows and, you're looking outside. No, it is 4 walls and every side is just filled with computers and equipment, and and she has a microphone. She's like, da 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 da, yes, and then pressing a button, then she's over here, and then she's over here, and it's just, I mean, to multitask. Now I get why you like the Dragonfly.
Yes,
that makes
a
sense.
Million different directions.
There it is.
Yeah. So there was something to be said about learning the equipment, and that's when people ask me about radio. What should I do? Okay, well, yes, you need to have a personality. It's not so much even about the voice anymore, although that is helpful, or it could be one of your tools in your toolbox. It's the personality, it's the voice, but you have to learn the technology, because I think that's one of the things that's kept me viable in my business, and many people in radio in the industry, is that if you don't know how to run the equipment, that means they got to hire you as the voice and the personality, and then they also got to hire somebody to produce it, to actually run the equipment.
So they probably won't hire
They
you.
probably won't, because they're not going to pay 2 heads for it. So learn the equipment. If you have an opportunity,
Very
wherever
important.
you are, junior college, high school, get your hands on all the equipment, all of it. Learn it.
And with that, I mean, because of the fact that you had the training in the beginning, I mean, early on, a lot of people don't even get that opportunity to learn all those tools. Did you have, and I was always interested, and it's because of the fact that you're a woman, first of all, and a lot of it to me is just like my sister Sheila. It's like, it's really kind of a man's world in a way, because it's not a passive aggressive kind of job. It's an aggressive job. You have to be very strong. You have to be on top of everything. You have to move fast. You have to, and a lot of producers, and it is kind of male driven, just like the drums were male driven for my sister. So going into that world, did you have, I mean, you had the foundation of that, but when you were getting finally into the studio and all that equipment, did you have insecurities that you were dealing with?
Not with the equipment. Never with the equipment. With the personality, I think. because I can talk all day. I can be 102.9 KBLX, Sterling James. I can read anything, and I can be a voice. I can be a voice. But when allowing myself to be a personality, that's, I think, where the difficulty comes in. And maybe even as a woman, because sure, most people are going to like my voice, but what if they don't like my personality? Because my personality is me.
Right.
So if I show too much of myself and show too much of my personality and then they don't like me, that hurts. So it took a long time for me to come out of my voice and into my personality.
Wow.
And to allow for myself to be myself. And then just kind of expect, some people are going to like me and some people are just not. And that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
But I still have to be bold. I still have to shine. I still can't dim my light to make other people comfortable. I'm not going to let anybody squash my shine.
Right.
I have to just at least try. And they might like me. Maybe they like me.
Everybody loves you.
Oh, gosh. Not everybody. And that's okay. They shouldn't.
It's really okay. You finally get to an age and you go, my mother, since I was little, she says, just don't care what anybody else says. And you know how crazy my mother is. She's very outgoing, and she just doesn't care what anybody thinks, says, does.
Yeah.
She will always be herself no matter what. And people, it's great because she makes herself sometimes look foolish purposely just to actually have somebody else laugh and to give them that happiness just for that moment, because she knows that's more important than looking good.
I love that. And you know how much I love your mom. And that is such a good tool because vanity and humility are, they're supposedly opposites. But again, we were talking about like tools in your tool belt. Vanity and humility are such beautiful tools if you can balance them and use them well. Vanity, and I don't mean, that can be cockiness, that can be boldness, that can be, knowing your worth, that could be, being a bit brash. But it also, with humility, it just kind of keeps you centered, knowing that the smartest man knows that he knows nothing at all, or the smartest woman. But finding a balance between humility and vanity, and one of the ways you can kind of do that is by doing silly things or showing your bad side or whatever.
Right.
Because it makes you approachable, it makes you human, it makes you real. It's like, oh, Sterling's just. She's just my homegirl,
right?
Yeah. She's just normal people,
Yeah.
You spend too much time up here, or too much time back here.
Right.
People are gonna
posing.
People are gonna think they have you figured out.
Yeah.
But if you find a balance between the two, like everybody has all of those sides, then people are like, oh, that's just folks. That's just folks.
Yeah, and it is definitely more relatable, and I love that. I love that about you.
Thank you.
Too. So, but, so let's get into the music part also. And so what was your first concert that you saw?
Oh, good Lord. Rick Springfield, 1982. I was 12 years old, and it was, I think, Monterey County Fairgrounds. Jesse's Girl.
I
love Rick Springfield. I love it. Yeah, I think that was my first concert.
And who took you at that age to be that young to go to that kind of concert?
I'm sure I was with my mom and some friends, or with my friend and a friend's mom, or something like that. Yeah.
And when I could just see, like, as a little girl, and then the big concert, it's just like everything's so much bigger.
Yeah.
So when you saw that first concert, like, what did you feel? What did you think? What was going on in the 12-year-old's head?
Well, it wasn't just like a concert, like, at a small venue like Yoshi's or something like that. It was a festival.
Right.
It was
it's
hella
huge.
people, and the lighting and the movement, and it was nighttime, and there was smell of cotton candy in the air, and
everything.
It was just
all the senses were going.
Oh, it was, yeah. That was probably my that was when I got bit For sure. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been an absolute live music junkie since then. I don't even know how many concerts I've been to in so many different settings. That is also soul food for me. That's that's almost like lifeblood. That's juice.
Well, I love that when I see you at concerts, I mean, as soon as Sterling says something or does an announcement, she's just off stage, just her eyes are closed and she's just in the corner by herself, just grooving. Nobody's talking to her. She doesn't need to talk to anybody. She doesn't need anybody. And I could tell that it's just feeding you all the time,
I love musicianship. I love musicians. I mean, I think it's just since I don't play, since I've never really mastered any instrument.
I was going to ask you that too.
Yeah, no. I mean, I took a little bit of piano in junior college because, like I said, we had to learn how to read and write and actually perform voice and piano. But I didn't master it at all. But I have just such respect for musicians and musicianship.
Yeah.
I mean, I love DJs too because I like to go and dance. But if I had to choose between going to see a DJ or going to see a band, 10 times out of 10, I will go see a live band. There's just something about the prowess of being able to speak through a whole different thing and the commitment that it takes to play and to practice and to deal with the bandmates and get there on time and eat in the dressing room, and I mean just the whole scene is everything for me. But getting dressed and going to concerts. I mean, I remember I saw Prince. I think my first show was at the Cow Palace, and it was like 1986. And me and my girls wearing our white Levi's and our BKs, and
BKs,
pounding 40 ounces in the car before we went in, and just music, just live music and performance.
Yeah,
and the production of it all. I love the lighting. I love the stage. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's juice.
It is. It's juice.
It's mango juice.
What was the best, not the best concert, but there's a lot of places that you've been to and places that, you announced, certain things. What's the best thing that you have experienced? I guess it would be kind of performing. I mean, when you speak, because your voice is so, it's just so giving and so loving, and it's very powerful. I mean, I'm just really coming into my voice just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And your voice really truly brings on life.
Oh, thank you.
It does. And you have given other people a place to stand and to speak. So when you finally, I guess, discovered this in your life of how important your voice matters, I mean, like, what age was that you just knew that how, what your gift was and how powerful it is?
I mean, so like emceeing, like introducing folks on stage, or radio? Because radio, I think I have been doing for quite a while. And then working my way into stage actually started backstage, because I loved doing production, and that came from the recording arts degree, where I love running cables, I love setting up, and breaking. I was a drum tech for a long time. My husband's a drummer.
Right.
One of the first times we kind of fell in love was when I took down his full drum set and then set it back up again, and he was just like, "You know how to."
This is my girl right here. This is my girl.
Carnival. I used to volunteer at Carnival in San Francisco, and I would work backstage, and just dragging congas up and down off the stage, and so it was actually a while before I moved from backstage, even though I was doing radio on the side, or even as a profession. It took a while before I moved from stage production to actually being on stage and hosting. And I don't remember exactly where or when it first happened, but it's funny because every time I MC and host an event, I'm often also stage managing. I end up being the stage manager as well, and I love stage managing, like the Dragonfly. I can be here and do that and do this and have a roll of duct tape on my wrist while I'm on the mic introducing the band. it just, I love being on stage. I don't feel nervous doing it. I again, it's that as a performer, it's that reciprocation of the energy from the audience. I remember one year, a few years in a row, I was actually hired or I volunteered. I was asked by Michael Franti and Spearhead and the production crew for Power to the Peaceful in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
And that was like 90,000 people
Wow.
the final year, I
Wow.
believe. And it was so much fun to just be up there and just see those seas of people. And again, it's the warmth and it's the dragonflies and it's the smell of the food and other things going on that people are partaking in. And
Right.
it's the whole scene for me. So being on stage and being able to lend my voice, whether it be to support your pops on a CD release,
Right.
or being able to lend my voice to introduce a youth for the first time. I volunteer for many, many years with Youth Speaks, which is a youth poetry and literary arts program. And for a very long time, I actually never went on mic. I just worked backstage with the youth.
Really?
Yeah. Because
But your voice was still, of course,
I would,
important. I mean, did you know that it was that important when you were speaking? Because I'm sure that, when certain people speak, I mean, I've noticed it throughout my life that when just very certain people, they, when they talk, you just listen right away. And then there's many others that talk, but they're not saying anything.
Sure.
And I know that you run into it, and I run into it because we're always backstage or we're talking to audience or fans or, whomever. But I know that when you speak that I mean, same thing, that when I walk into a room or, I pay attention to other people.
Yeah.
So when I see you walk into the room, the second that you speak, people stop and they listen to you.
Huh.
And that always touches my heart when somebody's being heard, so how does that feel, I guess, to be heard in such a powerful way?
It makes you want to be more careful with the words that come out your face.
That's deep.
Taste them. Taste those words before they come out of your mouth. It makes you want to make sure that the things you say are poignant and powerful. Because with the youth, I don't MC on stage, but backstage I speak with them before they go out. I might be the last person they see before they go out and the first person they see when they come back in. I speak to them backstage in the poet's circle before they go out. And I just remind them, like, look, this is your stage.
Right.
Don't worry about the lighting and the microphones. Let us take care of that. I got you. Everybody here wants you to succeed. Everybody is here to help you shine and shore you up.
Right.
So just go out there, and because some of this poetry is extremely personal and extremely deep, and maybe the first time that they've ever shared anything like that in their lives, or it might be something that they've written about their mother, and their mother's in the audience, and their mother hadn't heard it yet.
Wow.
So that's where the voice has its tone, but like you said, the words have that power. So I just try to. We have a thing posted up in my kitchen at my house that my husband and my daughter and I look at, and it's, check yourself on these 3 things before you speak. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? And if not, then maybe it's okay to just hush.
And keep it to yourself.
Because some things may not be kind or but they may be necessary. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But start with true. Is it true? Because if not true, then maybe you could just stop right there. Just
Right.
hush it.
That's powerful. And then you met, which I love, President Obama.
Oh my gosh.
That was insane and that was fun.
That was wild.
Tell me about that experience. I mean, I know about my own experience, but what was your experience on it?
I was invited in through my friend Alistair Monroe, who I've worked with for many, many years with the North Beach Jazz Festival, which was a festival that I helped produce and helped host for years at Washington Square Park. And I can't even remember how he was tied in, but And, and then it was John Legend, and then it was Boyd Tinsley of Dave Matthews, and then there was Michael Franti and Spearhead, and and it was Sheely, and I had kind of different ties with all of these different, and it was this perfect storm.
It was.
And it was at San Francisco. It was at Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. I worked so many shows at Bill Graham Civic. I was actually a bouncer, a blue coat security guard for Bill Graham for many, many years, right after the '89 earthquake. But that's a whole nother story. So to be at the Bill Graham Civic, and then I was like in, I wasn't just, I was in with Sheila E. And with John Legend, and then I had no idea we were going to get a chance to meet him that night.
Yeah.
None. And your sister destroyed the stage. It was so beautiful. Timbales, she sticks. She's got her shoes off. She knocks her cymbal over. There's one timbale on the floor, and she leaves it. She leaves it like that. And Barack Obama comes out on stage and walks up to the podium and looks at this disarray of the situation that your sister left behind, and he just laughed. He said, "That's beautiful." It was. I have a photo actually. It came up in my memories the other day. I do. I'll show it to you.
I have to see it.
It's Barack Obama at the podium, and your sister's mess just strewn behind. It's gorgeous. But then, we got to do the photo afterwards, and my family has some ties to Hawaii. My mom lived there for a time. My sister went there, lived there for a long time. My mom actually went to University of Hawaii for a little while, and so when I saw him, I was like, "Aloha." And he was like, "Oh, an island girl, how's it?" And I was like, "How's it?" Shook his hand, and I was wearing a piece that my mother has too, this big, huge golden sunshine. She's had it since the 70s, and I felt so powerful that day. And then the photo ended up being, Boyd Tinsley from Dave Matthews Band, and Michael Franti and his wife and his mother, and all the band from Spearhead, and me and you and your sister, and all kinds of old the Spearhead family. I remember Catherine Ennie was there from Guerrilla Management. Who else was in that photo? It was a hell of people in that photo.
All I saw was President Obama. It was just me and him in the photo. I love you, but it was just me and him in the photo. That was it.
And I remember I ended up having to kneel down in front of him because there was so much going on behind. And I thought to myself, okay, just down on one knee, Sterling. So in the photo, it's just like I am kneeling with the president. And of course, he wasn't the president yet, right?
Right.
He wasn't the president yet. Right. He was on the last leg of his tour.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That was just history.
That was fun.
That photo is, every time I look at it, I go,
we did that.
It was amazing. I know.
We did.
And we were there.
We did that.
Well, what was funny is that I remember that photo because I was standing back, and the first thing I remember is you saying, aloha as you did. And so he says, "Oh, an island girl." Da, da, da. And I was kind of just, a little bit, I just maybe was like 6 feet back, and I was just, my mouth was
agape.
I was speechless, and I'm going, she's talking to the president. And then the first thing he said was, "Oh, what a great voice you have."
Did he say that?
Yes.
He did?
He did.
I don't remember that.
And then you started saying, well, and then all of a sudden, here comes a sexy part of Sterling. She's like, "Yeah, well, I work for the radio station."
Did I really?
Yes.
I don't have any recollection of that.
He said it right away. He said, "Oh, what a great voice you have." And you just went into, "Oh, yeah. So, by the way, I just wanted to."
I didn't sexy talk him. I dropped into the Sterling James voice. Well, I happen to work in Bay Area radio here in San Francisco.
By the way.
Mr. President, by the way. You should come by and be on my show.
If you're not doing anything.
Not busy trying to
Sterling was really nice about it. She was very professional. Me, on the other hand.
Were you fangirling out?
I was an absolute nutcase because my sister introduced me, and he said, "What is your name?" She said, "Oh, this is my sister, Zina," and I'm looking at, because he's so tall and he's so handsome. And I was just so thankful Michelle's not there because I really look like a psycho. And he's looking down on me, and I'm like, and he says, "What's your name?" And you know what I said? That was my name that day. And the next thing I know, he came down to hug me, and I grabbed his neck because I was so excited, and I just went, and I smelled his neck.
Him.
I sniffed his neck.
Did you get in here?
I mean, I was all up
Zina.
in there. I'm very surprised that security did not grab me off.
Luckily, you're little. You're not that big of a threat.
I would have still been in jail by now. I swear. And I said, well, what kind of perfume? I mean, what kind of cologne do you wear? And he says, I can't tell you.
You said that to him.
Yes.
And he said, I can't tell you.
Because I would have bought
secret.
gallons and
That's
just sprayed it around my room and just.
Something Michelle gets him, I'm sure.
I know. I was so jealous, but we met the president.
Oh, we did. We met the president of the United States of America.
States.
That was a proud moment for me to be able to tell my mom that.
Oh, she had to just, yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
I know.
Maybe we'll get a chance to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. So how have you been? I mean, what else is going on? What's coming up?
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I know that things
it's
are slowed down.
loaded
But
question.
I know.
You know, I'm not sure how to put it. You know, we're working. I have an 8-year-old daughter. My husband and I.
Big.
Thank you. She is
Big and beautiful.
My husband and I are juggling her and juggling both of our careers. You know, I'm working from home mostly. We have beautiful new studios in Daly City that I've been going into a couple of days a week. But you know, I think like everybody, I'm kind of just I'm soldiering through. I'm treading water. I have the privilege of treading water in a pool. So I have fair access to the side of the pool if I get tired. Whereas so many people are treading water in a lake or in the middle of an ocean. So, I mean, I hold that privilege. You know, I know that I'm very, very lucky. But I'm still ready to get out the damn pool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm done. I'm tired of treading water.
Yeah.
But I'm very hopeful that the world that when we come out the other side of this, and we will, that the world that we come out into with a lot of work and still quite a bit of time, I'm sure, is going to be better.
Me too.
Because people just say, I just want to get back to normal. No, we can't go back because
I didn't like normal.
No,
I want to be better.
It wasn't good. It wasn't okay. I mean, this is ripped off the Band-Aid of the severe inequities in our nation and in our world.
Right.
So we need to make sure that when we go back, we put in the work so that it is better for all. So I'm trying to focus on, you know, putting the mask on myself before the child type of thing, where building myself and shoring myself up as much as I can to be the healthiest physically and mentally as I can. I'm about to be 50 years old.
50s are great.
So that I can continue to take good care of my family. You know, my mother is still alive, bless her. My father is still alive, my sister. So and then I want to be able to start getting back into giving and getting that soul food within the community when it's safe to do so. And when I'm sane enough to do it, to have some to give. I don't have a lot to give right now. All of that's going to my baby girl.
But you've been just an absolute great mother. I mean, I see you posting things about her, and you know, we've actually watched your daughter grow up in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful gift to have a child, you know. And what I love about that as a mother, I mean, Sterling has brought her baby girl to the concerts when she was little. The great thing is too is that she had her pink earphones on, and they were like this thick, you know. And I like the fact that you didn't separate her from that. You brought her into the world, and then also protected everything that needed to be protected. And so she just, you know, she knows everybody now, and everybody knows her. And I mean, who knows what she's going to be when she grows up.
You know, her first concert was Eddie Palmieri.
Oh, that's kind of hard to beat after that. You kind of messed it up for the rest of everybody.
She was 6 weeks old. And then I remember she attended a concert with me with Shaka Khan.
Wow.
I think one of the pictures of her with those headphones. And Shaka Khan sang My Funny Valentine.
Wow.
And my baby girl was born on Valentine's Day.
Aww.
So I wept. I was still extremely hormonal at that point. I wept. It was such a beautiful scene.
That's
I don't know
great.
what she's going to be, whatever she wants to be.
Yeah.
Everything she's touched so far, she's very, very good at.
Mm-hmm.
She plays piano right now.
Sweet.
You know, maybe she can get some percussion drum lessons from Auntie Sheila E.
You never know.
Yeah. But my husband is also a percussionist, so he
Yeah.
can teach her too.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. I do have one last question
Oh,
before
okay.
we go, but I just want to know what do you want your legacy to be? I know it's a heavy question, but
I'm going to try to figure out a way to answer that kind of shortly by saying that if people think about Sterling, that they wouldn't have something bad to say. First thing that would come to mind would be at least something good, and that I showed up. I showed up. Sterling, she showed up. If you called Sterling, she showed up. If you needed me, I showed up. If you needed a chandelier, I made it out of paper clips.
so true.
You know, what do you need? Where do you need me to be? And I showed up not just out of obligation or out of branding, but because I wanted to be there. I never wanted to be famous, but I think everybody wants to be respected. I would love to just be seen as somebody who worked hard. I worked hard, respectfully, and yeah, I think that is that a legacy that I would like to leave behind. And I really hope that my baby girl grows to be a confident young lady who never lets anybody squash her shine. If I could instill that in her. Just even though your voice shakes, you gotta speak. So I showed up, a little respect, a little shine. How's that?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Well, I love you so much.
I love you too,
Sterling.
Z.
Thank you for coming. This is Bay Legends, everybody. This is a show about just great artists and people who have made an impact on the Bay Area. And we are just grateful for Sterling. She is my sister. And we just love you and thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.